The passing of President Russell M. Nelson, the beloved leader of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, marked the end of an era in the global Christian community. Known for his unwavering faith, compassionate leadership, and lifelong service to his church and humanity, President Nelson's legacy was celebrated in a deeply emotional memorial service, attended by family, friends, and members of his faith. Held shortly after his death in October 2025, the service was not just a time to mourn, but also a moment to reflect on his profound impact on the world. The memorial service was filled with poignant tributes, heartwarming moments of unity, and emotional expressions of love and loss. One of the most emotional moments during President Russell M. Nelson's memorial service came when the event brought together not only members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but also members of other Christian faiths, who gathered to honor his life and legacy. This outpouring of support and respect from people outside the Latter-day Saint community reflected the widespread admiration and deep affection that President Nelson had earned through his years of service, leadership, and dedication. In particular, an unexpected yet deeply touching gesture came from the Catholic community in Heber City, Utah. St. Lawrence Catholic Church, where a special Mass was held in honor of President Nelson, welcomed over 250 attendees, far more than the typical 25-30 attendees at their regular services. The church was filled to overflowing with members of the Latter-day Saint community standing alongside their Catholic neighbors in solidarity. This act of unity between communities that do not always worship together was a testament to President Nelson's ability to build bridges and foster mutual respect among different faith traditions. The response of the Catholic Church in Heber City was overwhelming, especially given the personal connection that President Nelson had made with local Catholic leaders during his lifetime. "It was wild," said Justin Hibbard, the mission administrator at St. Lawrence Catholic Church, speaking of the unexpected turnout. "People were setting up chairs in places we normally don't, just to accommodate everyone. It was a beautiful sight." This event demonstrated not only the universal respect for President Nelson, but also the profound impact he had on the broader community. Attendees from both faith traditions reflected on the shared sense of love and devotion to the teachings of Jesus Christ, making this memorial service a powerful moment of healing and solidarity in a world that often feels divided. As the memorial service continued, the emotional weight of the occasion was felt most acutely through the tributes offered by President Nelson's family, particularly his children. Marjorie Lauder, one of President Nelson's 9 daughters, shared her reflections on her father's life. Her words were filled with gratitude and admiration for the man who had not only been a father to her, but also a source of inspiration for millions of believers around the world. "I just felt so humbled and honored that they would do this for my father," Marjorie Lauder said, speaking of the joint memorial service held with their Catholic neighbors. Her voice quivered with emotion as she described the kindness and love shown by the Catholic community during such a painful time. "It was completely overwhelming to experience the love and kindness of our Catholic neighbors. It made me feel so blessed to be part of something that transcends religious differences." Her husband, Brad Lauder, also reflected on the emotional impact of the service, noting that the kindness shown by the Catholic congregation was a rare and beautiful example of solidarity in a time of loss. "It was truly a loving act," he said. "In a world that is often divided, it was heartwarming to witness such an act of unity and love. We felt completely accepted, surrounded by people who were here not only to honor President Nelson, but to show us as a family that we were not alone in our grief." The emotional weight of these tributes, both personal and communal, helped attendees understand the deep connection between President Nelson and those closest to him. His leadership extended beyond the pulpit and into his family, where he was a father, grandfather, and guiding figure who left an indelible mark on his loved ones. Music played an essential role in the memorial service, bringing attendees together and creating a shared space for collective mourning. The memorial service opened with the hymn, "Amazing Grace," a song that resonated deeply with both Latter-day Saint and Catholic attendees, reflecting a common faith in God's grace and mercy. The familiar melody allowed both congregations to unite in their sorrow and gratitude, setting the tone for a service that would be filled with emotion. However, it was the final hymn, "How great thou art!" That became the emotional crescendo of the service. As the congregation sang together, the sound of their voices filled the church, with some members saying that the acoustics were so powerful. It felt as though the windows were almost shaking. Marjorie Lauder described the experience as so loud and beautiful and so sweet, a fitting tribute to a man whose life had been defined by his unwavering faith and love for God. The music director, Christina Hemphill, had carefully chosen hymns that would be familiar and meaningful to both faith communities. This thoughtful selection of songs created an environment where people of different backgrounds could connect through music, a shared language of love and devotion. The final hymn, in particular, left many attendees in tears, as they felt a deep sense of connection not only to President Nelson, but to each other. Another deeply emotional moment occurred when Father Kenneth Ray Parsad delivered the homily at the memorial service. Father Parsad, a Catholic priest who had worked closely with President Nelson and members of the Latter-day Saint community in Utah, spoke lovingly of President Nelson's character. His words struck a chord with everyone in the room as he reflected on the profound impact that President Nelson had on him personally and on the communities he served. "I didn't know President Nelson personally," Father Parsad began, "but I can say that I knew him vicariously through the wonderful Latter-day Saint people I have encountered." His tribute emphasized the kindness and warmth that President Nelson embodied, especially in his interactions with others. Father Parsad spoke of the many conversations he had with Latter-day Saints, recounting how President Nelson had once helped him trace his own family history. Furthering his appreciation for the value of family connections, Father Parsad's words were a poignant reminder that President Nelson's influence extended beyond his role as a spiritual leader of a religious institution. His legacy was felt through his everyday actions, from his outreach to others to his deep commitment to family, both his own and those of others. Father Parsad's reflection captured the essence of President Nelson's spirit, a man who lived by his faith, dedicated to building bridges between communities, and committed to love and service. As the memorial service drew to a close, there was a powerful call for unity and peace. Father Parsad reminded the congregation that President Nelson's vision for a united world where love and kindness prevail was something that should continue to guide them in the days ahead. "We are all God's children, and today we celebrate the life of a man who made us all feel loved and accepted," he said. "Let us take this moment to remember his teachings and to carry them forward in our lives." For many, this call to unity resonated deeply. The memorial service had become not just a time to mourn, but also a moment to renew their commitment to President Nelson's vision of a world where people come together in love, irrespective of their differences. The power of that message was felt in the room, as attendees from both faith communities recognized the opportunity they had to continue President Nelson's work in fostering understanding and compassion. In the weeks following President Nelson's passing, people across the world continued to reflect on the lasting legacy he left behind. His unwavering commitment to spreading the gospel, his compassion for those in need, and his ability to bring people together remained central themes of the many tributes that followed his memorial service. President Nelson's legacy will continue to inspire future generations to live with love, humility, and faith, values he upheld throughout his life. As the memorial service demonstrated, President Russell M. Nelson's influence extended far beyond the walls of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. His ability to unite people from all walks of life, to teach through example, and to offer words of comfort and peace in times of grief was a testament to the depth of his character. His passing, while deeply sorrowful, marked the beginning of a renewed commitment among his followers to carry forward his work of unity, love, and faith. The emotional moments from his memorial service were not just about honoring a man who had passed away. They were a celebration of the enduring impact of his life. His teachings will continue to echo in the hearts of those who loved him, and his legacy will live on as a beacon of hope and compassion in an often divided world.